Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DCS 2.5 Open Beta. Now I have been waiting for this update for a long time. Now in today's video I'm going to give you a tour from Batumi all the way to Krasnodar. And in episode 2, in the second video, we will be continuing the trip from Krasnodar all the way to Vaziani and Tbilisi. So let's get started, and we'll talk about the changes on the update along the way. Now I have not flown the MiG-21 in a long time, so if I crash or make mistakes, you're gonna have to forgive me for that. I'm gonna try and do my best. Everything is good. Do a final check. Engine's in the green. Throttle back. Let's go ahead and get started. Brakes released. All the way to afterburner. And takeoff. Quite a rocky takeoff, but takeoff nonetheless. Gear up. Flaps up. Now it seems that our cockpit is fogging up. That might be a new feature to 2.5, I guess. Turn our oxygen on. Now, Eagle Dynamics has changed the Caucasus map a lot. It has updated it. It has reworked it and changed it for the better in terms of graphics and everything. So I believe the water was reworked. It looks better. The trees, the forests, the hills, the roads, the bridges, the rail networks, everything was reworked. Everything is a lot more, realistic. Looks a lot better. So that was Batumi that we took off from. Now I'm not sure why there's this bit of haze or fog around our cockpit, but yeah. So I've set this mission up for summertime. So it's currently summertime in this map. There's a autumn, a spring, and a winter edition as well. So if we had selected winter, this whole map would be covered in snow and ice. So down here is the famous Kabuleti target range. And Tbilisi airfield is just in front of us over there. So this is where mostly people line up targets to shoot. I think it's not a fog, it's just a glare in the glass because of the sun. So all the roads, the fields, the houses, the structures, the airfields, everything was reworked. The rivers. So that's Tbilisi airfield now. It looks quite different. They have placed the trees and the forest in such a way that it looks a lot more natural, a lot more realistic, in my opinion. Let's try and make our way all the way to Krasnodar. I have one 800-liter central external fuel tank and two 490-liter wing tanks as well, and a complement of full internal fuel tank, fuel as well. I'm hoping I can make it all the way to Krasnodar. So let's gain some altitude. So we're heading towards Sukhumi Babushara, Kutaisi all the way to our right, Gudada ahead, and then Sochi Adler as well, all the way up front. So from Sochi Adler, we'll take the heading 310 and head all the way to Krasnodar. And along the way, we might see a couple of other airfields as well, such as Makeup, I believe. All the textures on the buildings were upgraded as well. The 3D model of all the buildings was upgraded. They look a lot better. And I believe they have also updated the sounds as well. I think the sound engine has also been updated. You might have heard the moving of the wind and stuff like that in the external shots. I'll be including lots of external view of the aircraft as we take on this journey. So you might have noticed the changing of the sound as you rotate from the front to the rear of the airplane. Now, just so that you guys know, this is not a final product. It is an open beta. They're going to be continuing to develop it, to fix it, to polish it. So by all means, this is not a final representation of what the Caucasus is going to look like. It is just a step in the right direction, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and descend. And we'll do a low pass all the way to Sochi Adler. And then we'll climb back up again and head to Krasnodar. So in this dive, I believe we'll go past Mach 1. We probably shouldn't, considering that we're carrying fuel tanks. So I believe this is Sukhumi Babushara. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that the runway surfaces look a lot more pale. They're not as prominent as before. So you're gonna have to look a lot harder to find the airfield, unless you're looking at it obviously from a high altitude. Even then. But one more thing that I have noticed with this change to Caucasus is that you tend to really feel how high you are in the aircraft. Before, I couldn't really feel how high I was when I was flying. I'm not sure if you guys feel the same way, but I can tell how high I am just by looking at the ground. And also the trees are collidable now, so no more going through trees with helicopters and fixed wing aircraft. Look at all the sailing boats. Nice. The MiG-21's engines do not like negative G. And that's the radar altimeter warning. I also feel like the mountains are a lot more realistic as well, in how they the sloping of the mountains and how they move up from the flat ground, from the flat terrain. Before it just used to be like quite sharp. Now it's a lot more smoother how they gain. Oh look, there's a train coming through the tunnel. That's a tunnel. How cool is that? Yeah. So yeah, the hills look a lot more realistic as they they develop from the flat terrain. Did you guys see that tunnel? Let's get some afterburner. Let's get some speed. No, we don't want to hit supersonic because I'm carrying wing tanks. I believe that is Gudada. Not long before we can see Sochi. And also, the way that the villages and the little towns have been placed are more realistic now, more natural. The towns and little hamlets and villages are exactly where you would expect them to be. Before, they were just random clusters of buildings here and there across the field. And also, they've updated the effects from the different weapons, like the rockets, the bombs, the guns, and stuff like that. I'll be doing a video on that next. I'll try and do a video on that next for you guys, so you can see the different effects from the bombs and different types of rockets and missiles and such. I'll set up some targets near Tbilisi and I'll show you guys. And the game seems really smooth, seems really optimized, like I'm running this at full graphics, everything is maxed out, and I'm not having any stutters or frame rate issues or anything like that. It looks really smooth, and I don't have like the best of the computers. I have an okay computer, but it has absolutely no problem running this at full graphics. And I believe this is Sochi Adler. Since everything looks so different, I wonder if people are going to be recognizing their favorite spots now. Like if I hadn't told you guys that I was taking off from Batumi, would you have recognized that as Batumi? But maybe Batumi is not such a great example because it's quite obvious. It's in between mountains and next to the water. But like if I took off from Tbilisi and I didn't tell you guys, would you be able to know that that's Tbilisi? So we're heading 320. That should be directly ahead towards Krasnodar. Let's gain some altitude. So currently we're at 2,500 meters. Let's try and climb up to 5,000. Now the MiG-21 climbs really well. As you can see, we're at 3,500 now. We're gonna level off at 5,000. And there we are, at 5,000. Seems that we've picked up the RSBN signal from somewhere. I haven't set the RSBN to any particular location. So we're at 5,300 meters. So that's like what, 15,000 feet? I believe our central fuel tank, external fuel tank, is empty. Now I don't remember how to jettison anything, so I think I might have found the button for the jettisoning of the central fuselage tank, external fuel tank. It's this button right here. And yes, it seems that the external central fuselage fuel tank is gone. And these two buttons here, I believe, are used to jettison the wing tanks. We should now be heading straight for Krasnodar. To our right, somewhere there, is Makeup Airfield. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it from here, but it's out here somewhere. In the second video of this journey, we're going to be going over the Caucasus Mountains. As I said before, like when you look out the window in 2.5, you can see how high you are. You can immediately tell how high you are. You feel as if you have altitude. where before I couldn't feel that. But there is the lake of Krasnodar. I'm not sure what that lake is called in real life, but it's quite a prominent feature around Krasnodar. So we're almost at 7,000 meters. Let's go ahead and reduce throttle and we'll descend. We'll try and maintain a shallow descent over the lake and the city of Krasnodar. Then we'll call it quits for this video. Now, if you guys want to see anything else from 2.5, please let me know. If you have any questions with regards to 2.5, let me know. I'll try and answer it to the best of my knowledge and the best of my ability. And yes, I will be doing a startup, taxi, takeoff and landing tutorial for the MiG-21 as well. I'm currently working on doing a tutorial for the Focke-Wulf 190 D9. So I'll go ahead and jettison my external wing tanks over the lake. Now that's not something very nice to do now, is it? No, actually I'm not going to jettison it over the lake. I'm going to jettison it over there in that field. I don't want to ruin the beautiful lake with jet fuel. Actually, we might be able to jettison it here in this forest. Actually, the field is better. I can't make up my mind. Make sure that there's no houses or anything. Well, let's confirm that they're empty. I don't have my cockpit labels set to English, but I think they're empty. So we'll go left pylon, right pylon. There they are. So now we can be a little bit more maneuverable. We can afford to pull some more G's without the tanks. So here's Krasnodar, and here's the lake. Let's try and burn some of that excess fuel that we have. It should be supersonic now. Almost. And we are supersonic. So that's the outer marker for Krasnodar Pervovsky, I think it is. I'm not sure what the name of that airfield is. But it's Krasnodar something. P something. Pervovsky? Something like that. And that's actual Krasnodar airfield. The actual city looks a lot different from before, and it's probably a lot more realistic now. If you were to compare this to an actual Google Earth image of Krasnodar, it'd probably be very similar. So I believe that's the train station. I love what they've done with the glow on the river, on the waters as well. It looks really, really neat. So let's go ahead and try and land at Krasnodar. Now, as I said, I haven't flown the MiG-21 for a very long time. Now, if I mess up or if I crash, you guys are going to have to excuse me. And landing the MiG-21 surely isn't an easy task, so... So let's go ahead and bring our landing gear down. flaps down to 25 degrees. So that's the landing gear down and locked. So we're a little slow now. I'll try and maintain this altitude, but I also don't want to decrease my speed any less than 350. I'm gonna make sure I have the drag chute cover button thingy released here. Now the MiG-21 does hold altitude and speed quite well. Like you can just leave it there and it will do what you want it to do. You want to go all the way down on the flaps to 45 degrees. Now, as I said, I have not landed the MiG-21 in a while. I don't remember the landing speeds and the approach speeds and everything. So don't take this as a guide or as a tutorial in any way. And if I'm making any mistakes, please let me know in the comment section below. Correct me. Feel free to give constructive criticism. So I'm going to try and line up the nose of the aircraft with the threshold of the runway. I'm paranoid about getting slower than 300 kilometers an hour. I'm using brakes. Can use the parachute. Not a bad landing, ladies and gentlemen. We'll release the chute. Not a bad landing at all. We'll open the cockpit. It's probably a bit loud, so we close it back up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this and for joining me on this journey from Batumi to Krasnodar. Now, please join me in the next episode from our journey from Krasnodar to Tbilisi and Vaziani. So I'll see you guys until the next episode. Bye bye.